or not to be, that's the question. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. Put your hearts up and your hands out. Feel the vibes of the earth coming out. Get your feet out and the dirt between your toes. Get the stinky stinks moving up inside your nose. Put your hearts up and your hands out. Listen, Mother Nature's coming out. She's out, she's out, she's out, she's out. She's out, she's out, she's out. Get your brains out of their rudimentary traction. Seek a bit of better upper mental satisfaction. Get your brains out of their rudimentary traction. Just a bit of better upper mental satisfaction. To be or not to be, I repeat the question. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. With your hearts up and your hands out. Now can you feel the power coming out? Feel the vibes up and spread them around. Here are the beats and grooves that make you shake your ass around. Put your hearts up and your hands out. She ain't your baby if she's starting to pout. She ain't if she likes to pout. She ain't if she likes to pout. She ain't your baby if she likes to pout. If she likes to pout. She ain't your baby if she likes to pout. To be or not to be, that's the question. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. To be or not to be, that's the question. Can you hear the funky groove that I mention? To be or not to be, that's the question. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. To be or not to be, that's the question. Can you hear the funky groove that I mention? To be or not to be, it ought to be a question. Every action has an equal opposite reaction. Put your hearts up and your hands out. Feel the vibes of the earth coming out. Get your feet out and the dirt between your toes. Get the stanky stinks moving up inside your nose. Put your hearts up and your hands out. Feel the, feel the, feel the.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow, 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 meow,
Meow, meow, meow.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
You look awfully sharp this evening, sir, Dr.
I had
Black.
to. I had to tie my hair back, even though it's not very tightly tied back, because it's muggy AF right here. Super humid for superhumans.
Well, it looks good on you.
I had a haircut too, that's right. And did all my beard and shit.
and
And sir, Joel, you always look sharp because you get your haircut every 2 weeks, right? At the barber.
well, that and I just look sharp, you know.
It's just a general rule of thumb.
It's just how it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That would be why.
I'm gonna move out to the woods
And then never look
hairy,
sharp.
get hairy AF, grow a big beard.
Well, crikey, I haven't even looked at the chat yet. Let's have a look at the chat. Who have we got? How many have we got? We've got a few. Oh,
Who's here? Is anybody
Everyone.
here?
Black. First, back on the bloody top of the table, mate. Well done. Bucket of kudos in the post to you, as is the rule. And a hefty cheers. Huawei, how do you do? Sky Dancer, hello there. BJ Palmer, hello there. Kat McKenzie, welcome. 503 Aquatics in the chat. Look out, ladies and gentlemen and others. Who else I got? I'm sure I saw some other names in the chat. Big J, welcome back, brother. Long time no see. Sushi Berry, how are you? Welcome back. Kiwi Marmo, kia ora. I always feel I never say that properly. Must be my Australian accent. That must be everyone. GRB, I miss GRB. How could I miss GRB? And nearly at the bottom. I suppose this is what happens when you don't check the chat before starting. It fills up real quick. Two Dougs, how are yous? Good to see you. I'm going to mute for that famous first mute of this show.
Bodily function.
Who got
Insert
muted?
there. Dr. Black did. He was doing something.
Oh, he got muted. He muted himself.
Yeah, I was being vulgar and crass. G'day, new local Austin. I'm scared to wipe my head with this one because I've been blowing my nose on it. Am I sounding really faint to you guys?
Only when you scoot back at all.
Yeah, I hadn't even put my microphone down. It was way over on the other side of the table. Is that any better?
That is better.
Much.
And I can hear less of like aeroplanes or whatever you had going on.
Yeah, yeah, there was a low-flying little buzzer going over the top. And if I do this, I can go...
Oh, hello.
Pardon me.
Hey, the star of the show has returned, finally.
Finally.
Hey,
Finally. Rachel Beard, how are you?
what's going on? What's happening? What's the special occasion?
I think I might have like eye boogers in my eyes.
Oh,
So
No, not that I can see.
it feels like I do them.
That's because you're slightly ill.
But I'm only here for a second, but then I might show up again soon.
On the other side of the interwebs.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So this is like my first day of being able to do anything at all after moving. It's been absolute mammoth adventure.
where did you move to?
I moved to a place that's called Limpenwood, but it's up in the hills in the bush. It's beautiful.
Is that what you call a juxtaposition or an oxymoron?
I don't really think it's either. Yeah, no, you've got something. Yours is more like a piece of cigarette or something. Though.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so this like really massive old house out in the bush, and like I can just walk down the cliff face a little bit, and there's like a creek that's full of crystals, and it's really wonderful.
That sounds amazing.
It's so good. And like just a little bit, like a few Ks down the road, there's this spot with all waterfalls and everything. And it's so good. I haven't gotten to explore anything really yet because I've been packing and then moving and carting loads of stuff back and forth because I had too much stuff for the removalists to fit in their truck. And trying to scrub my old house that was like really filthy.
Moving is like the worst. I'm so sorry. Like you have to do it, but it's awful. And just when you think you're done, like when you get that last thing on the moving truck, you then realize you're not even halfway done because
Yeah.
you still have to clean the old house and then unpack everything and decide where it goes.
Yeah,
It's
my
terrible.
the new house is still just boxes pretty much, but I count myself as done. I'm done.
Find it when you
Moving's
need it.
done.
Yep.
Just for the next 6 months, leave the boxes. And then in 6 months, whatever's still in boxes, just blind tape them shut and send it to go. Be like, nope, all done.
I'm feeling that so much. I've been trying to be really ruthless, just like chucking stuff. Like I don't need that. I don't need. There's a few things I've gotten to the new house and gone, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have thrown that away. But yeah,
It feels good once you get in the zone of like getting rid of crap. It's good.
I have way too much stuff. I still have too much stuff. So
G'day, Gaffer. How's it going, mate?
Then again, I think I have like 20 boxes full of like art and craft stuff, like fabric and doll making stuff and everything.
But that's like tools. That doesn't count.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. I was like, I can keep all that stuff. That's okay. I have a
Yes.
spare room now. So my spare room has got a wall of tubs of craft stuff in it.
G'day, ball space. Oh, joy. Moving again, too.
Oh, no.
Tis the
Didn't
season.
they only move not very long ago, though?
Must have
Yeah, I
been
hate it.
12 months or more, I think.
Yeah. See, I was in my place for a long time. But it kind of, I don't know. You have so much time to accumulate stuff, and so much like behind all your furniture just gets worse and worse, and dust and mess. Because if you're like me and don't if I've wiped the surface, it looks clean, that's good enough. I'm not going to go around pulling out the things and cleaning underneath them in regular life. I don't have the energy for that stuff. So
I always joke around that I move into my place with exactly what I need. And then I go about my life, and while I'm gone, all of my stuff starts making babies. And I don't ever see them doing anything, but gradually, just like generationally, crap starts to build up, and then that stuff has babies. It's the darndest thing. You look away and it's like more stuff. I don't know. I have to clean out a storage unit that I've been paying way too much for way too long for, because it was only going to be for a minute, and now I'm like, all of that stuff I could have thrown away and bought a new version of. Like, I'm not paying it for this another month. And I said that last month, and then I paid for this month. So this month I am really not paying for another month. And I feel like I'm going to get there and throw most of that super expensive now stuff away. But I'm ready to be done with it.
but you know what happened? Because I think I'm going to throw all that stuff away. And then as you start picking it up to take it to throw it away, it sort of like increases in value. And you realize, oh, no, maybe not that thing. You haven't looked at it for years, and you don't even remember you had it. But suddenly.
It starts meowing at you or something.
Oh, yeah.
G'day, Holly.
yeah.
How are you?
I think that though that I should go, but then I'll come back on, because I did set up my computer the other day so I could chat to Mikey. So
Priorities.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Do that.
It does apply, Huawei. We just overlook it. We bypass it.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Doesn't apply in Australia. I thought it's always 5 o'clock in Australia.
Pretty much.
With the prices you have to pay for booze, I feel like you've earned drinking it whenever you want.
I feel
I
you.
just think that it's a little bit strict to say it has to be 5 o'clock.
No one's life's that regular.
No. That's too rigid, even if it's 5 o'clock all the time. It's just, if you feel like it, go for it.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I'm going to move, so see you on the other
See you in a
side.
little bit.
Righto, I'm going to go and give her some hugs so you guys chat amongst yourselves.
All right, I am Pants. What is happening over there, and why are you Pants? I thought you were a whole person.
I am Pants.
Okay.
What's up? What's going on with you?
Big things.
Big things? Large things? Grandiose things?
I'm making big moves. You know, I signed up for, technically it's college. So I signed up for college. It's a 10-month certificate program to learn how to weld, sort of, so that I can go into one of the unions and an apprenticeship. Because, like, I really have to take care of a retirement. I got, like, 20 good years left in me. And I feel like unions probably going to situate me for that best possible scenario.
Yep.
And wood, like I can sculpt, I can do woodworking. The only thing I don't know how to like join in any way is metal stuff. Like that's a real, I don't mess with wrenches. I don't weld. So
Well, do you have
solid
any?
like zombie
do you have any-
apocalypse go.
Do you have any marketable skills now?
I can do all sorts of office work, but I don't want to. don't
Like I
wanna
said,
work at
do
a
you have
desk.
any marketable skills?
Well, I mean, yeah, like I can get you out of tax liens and make sure your payroll's done correctly so you don't get fined by the state or
Are you a
labor and
CPA
industry.
or
No.
no?
I never did any like accounting degree. I failed out of community college because of algebra. Like couldn't figure it out. Never got past it. So, no. But accounting is like a big old math degree for something that's like
Oh, you'd be fine.
you do a lot of footwork and then send it to the accountant. They check it over and then you're up 70 grand. So I just wanted like a skill set like that.
Yeah, I mean,
a trade.
Welding is a good trade, and it's a good trade for. I don't know. I guess don't take this the wrong way, but it's a good trade for women to get into, because it's physical work, but a lot of it isn't. You're not carrying steel around.
It's something I feel
we
like
have
I can
machines.
still jump into at 40 and do an
We
apprenticeship.
have machines and tools and whatnot that carry this stuff around. So as long as you can follow proper techniques and process and all that, then you'll be fine. It's a good skill to have because it doesn't really expire either.
Well, and it's a whole new avenue of sculpting, which I'm pretty stoked about too.
Yeah.
I love that we're just pretending there isn't a little bunny foo-foo hopping through the forest back there.
Never mind the sneaky Pete in the back. Hey, what are you doing? I gotta go get a water. I'll be right back.
Snaky Pete was definitely doing one of those cartoon sneaking walks.
It was very sneaky. I liked it. Yeah,
Was it
so I
Vicky
was
or
just
is
telling
Olivia
Joel
grown?
that basically I signed up for a master's program, and by which I mean a 10-month certificate at a trade school.
As a master.
I'm going to learn how to weld.
Z-Beam on the road again.
Yep. G'day. How are we all?
Good, mate. How are you?
Pretty decent.
G'day, Cody, as well. Probably you missed some other people coming in too, did I? Well, they'll pipe up. Tell me I missed them. What's going on? Where are you today?
I'm just Ballina right now and heading to Coffs Harbour tonight.
Oh. Doing business in Ballina?
Yep. Nice.
Because I see you've got your traditional business attire on, which is some, shabby old T-shirt. Seems to get the job done.
Yep, absolutely. Got to keep it fresh.
So what's your master's in, Shanna?
Well, it's definitely not a master's. It's a trade school. It's a 10-month certificate program for welding. And then
cool.
I want to
10 months.
join a union because like I'm 40 and I need a retirement, right? And like unions are a pretty good situation. If I got 20 years I can spend welding, then I can retire, which seems worth planning for at some point, allegedly.
But allegedly, a very, very good life skill to have.
But my union options are boilermakers, iron workers, or the plumbers and pipe fitters. And I definitely don't want to do the plumbers one because the apprenticeship for that is a lot of time digging, and I'm old.
Yep.
And The iron workers, I get vertigo super bad. I'm not afraid of heights until my legs buckle, and then it gets pretty scary. So I'm thinking probably not that one, which means boiler makers. And if I can figure out how boilers work and get on at a government job like a school somewhere, that's like prevailing wage kind of situation. So
I think
that'd be dope.
Boilermaker is a pretty broad term, though, isn't it? Just doesn't involve welding big balls of metal sealed. I think it encompasses lots of different things, doesn't it?
I feel like it has. I'm not sure what the difference between boilermakers and pipe fitters are exactly. Because I know they don't just deal with the boiler itself. Like there's tons of shipyard stuff that you can do. And living where I live, like right next to Portland, it's literally a port town. So, and they do all sorts of stuff down there. Probably
Yeah.
going to have to research this a little further. We're still.
As far as welding goes, you want to get as many certifications as you can. And honestly, you want to work your way up into aluminum fabrication and whatnot. And because you live in Oregon, you definitely want to get on with the shipyards union if you can. One of them. I know there's a couple of them down there. Working in the shipyard's probably going to be your best bet. That's your like highest earning potential. They have a pretty high turnover because most of those guys are in and out the door, in and out the door, in and out the door, because they're always trying to find the bigger, better, brighter, shinier, whatever job. So if you're somebody that's like stick to it, follow the instructions, you know, like if you can read what this thing is supposed to be, and you make
And
it
then
like
do that.
and just produce, then you'll do really well. You know, I know a lot of those guys are making, you know, 80 to 120 an hour. So, you know,
It's definitely good money.
Sushi Berry says underwater welding is where it's at. So I have a good friend of mine was like the first fully certified, like whatever deep dive underwater welder that was a woman. And she was an instructor and all that stuff. And underwater welding is where it's at, but there's a lot of reasons to not necessarily go into underwater work because, like a friend of mine got this fungal infection from the scuba tanks in his lungs, and now can't go underwater at all anymore.
Shit.
You know, so there's a lot of weird stuff because people think like, oh, you're just going to drown, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into underwater welding, which may or may not, like the average person wants to kind of deal with. Another friend of mine would be stationed up in Alaska for like 8 months at a time, and then come back down and just be like, well, I don't know what's going on. And then, you know, of course, you got money, and you know, money buys you a lot of extracurricular things, and then you go flying off the rails. Yeah,
you can afford all the misery you can think of.
Yeah. So I would say like the guys that I know that have done well are the kind of stick to it and shipyard guys have done really well. Pipe fitting is probably pipe fitting is kind of special. It's a specialized thing. You know, it's like doing fire systems, fire suppression systems, and stuff like that. And it's kind of a specialized thing, and it does go side by side with plumbing and construction and that kind of stuff. Those guys come around and do a very specific job, and then they go off to go do another very specific job. One of the downsides to that is that there's a lot of travel constantly. So a lot of those guys complain about, well, I drive 3 hours over here, and then I work for 9 hours, and then they buy me a crappy hotel room, and then the job goes longer, and I'm in some stupid town for 4 days, you know, like trying to get out of there and stuff. So if that day-to-day big range travel, that kind of thing, where it's like, we're sending you 150 miles over that way, if that's not your deal, which, as no offense, but as Shanna's a single parent, that may or may not be a really conflicting on a regular basis, that might not be a great road to go down. But if you can find something like a shipyard, you're generally going to the same area. Like obviously you'll be in this part of the yard and then that part of the yard or in the warehouse or whatever, but you're kind of going to a work. You go there, you kind of know who you work under, all that kind of stuff. That's probably the little bit of advice I can give realistically. But then also, like, another good spot to get in if you're a welder is trailer repair.
Like truck and trailer?
Yep.
Probably
Yep.
rail cars. Oh, I'll bet. And those things are always getting mashed up.
Yep. And then another weird avenue that you might not be thinking about, and this might sound gross to you right out the gate, but waste management. Dumpsters.
Dude, that shit pays. Anything where you're dealing, like garbage men. I love that little story about the mom saying you don't want to pick up garbage, and the garbage man is like, "Lady, I make more than you and your old man combined. Come on now."
Yeah. So the dumpster department, that's where I almost got a job at Waste Management, building and repairing the dumpsters there, just to try and get my foot in the door. They picked another guy, and their loss. But yeah, it was you're basically just manufacturing and repairing dumpsters. You're just building them, because where do you order dumpsters from? There's not like a place like limit dumpster supply.
They have a limited lifespan too, because they get banged around and treated like garbage.
Yeah.
Well, they get banged around a lot, but so like if it gets banged around a bunch, what they do is they send out a new one, air quote new one. They take that old one and they strip it with this this high powered pressure washer. You strip it down, and then they grind all the old welds and everything, and then just re-weld it all back together, and then send it. They have a paint shop where they actually like roll in dumpsters and just paint dumpsters all day or whatever.
I feel like that would have to be like, I don't know. I think I would get a little bit bored after a while of doing just dumpsters or something like that. I do like the idea of all the difference, like, because a shipyard, maybe you work on one part of the same ship, whatever, but it's different ships too. You get to see all sorts of things come and go. And
well, I mean, I'm sure it's exciting working at the waste management place. There's always something going on over there.
Always trash to rifle through. G'day, George.
Dude, I'd end up dragging shit home.
You can't.
Look what I found at work today.
You can't. That's against the law. And you don't work at the transfer station.
Okay, I might take a job working at a transfer station. And I am a rascally raccoon. I promise you, if I saw something super good, I'll find a way.
Well, just so you know, it's against the law. But yeah.
Yeah, it's against the law down here too.
Do you know in Hawaii, the dump is free and you can take stuff too?
Yeah, Alaska's the same way.
Hawaii's advanced.
It's like OG recycling, man.
Fuck yeah.
When you got to fly or ship everything in.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense. G'day, Vitra.
Fishymon, I see you.
Yeah, that used to be the funnest thing about
down in the proper states. It's generally against the law because you don't know what you're taking in and out of the dump, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody had hazmat something, and you took it home and like, oh, my kids have bubonic plague now. I don't know, but I work at the dump. It's not a coincidence, guys. It's
But what if you found a super sick anvil?
An anvil?
Yeah.
Anvils get recycled.
I
see a lot of stuff at the dump that should be recycled or something else. Just resold.
Yeah,
but I do go to the dump a lot.
We got a tip shop, so any good stuff goes to the tip shop usually. And that's good pickings if you're into recycling. Get some good quality stuff.
We call our rubbish dumps tips down here.
Yeah.
So what Josh is talking about is the tip shop where they, like he said, they find decent stuff, clean it up and sell it.
Yeah.
So they can make a bit of money. I think that's probably the main reason they banned scavenging.
For sure.
Yeah, we have scrap yards and stuff like that for that nonsense. Yeah. The
Or
dump is for
Goodwill, the
garbage. I mean,
bins.
the dump is for garbage. Goodwill, scrap yards, stuff like that is for. I've got some stuff. It might be worth something to somebody later. You know.
Sounds like my dad's garage.
Yeah. Generally, you just gotta put some. You just gotta put some price tags on it and leave the door open.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh
And
yeah,
honestly,
put it on your front lawn with a sign that says $25 by morning. It'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
that's what
put
I-
free on it, you never know. But if you put like a dollar amount, I mean, maybe
perceived
I just don't
value.
live in the best areas, but
Oh, if I have something worthwhile, I put it outside with the free sign on it. And by the way, if more often than not, this almost always works for me. But like old water heaters, or if I had an anvil I was getting rid of, or whatever, I always just put the scrap sign on it. And invariably, some guy with a beat up jalopy of a truck will be like, "Oh man, look at this gold!" and throw it in his truck and take it off. And I'm like, "And you saved me a trip to the dump, you bozo." And he made $3.
my little neighborhood, like my neighbors and all the people on my block, all the houses, super, super nice. But I'm like one block back from Mill Plain, which is like a pretty busy thoroughfare, still a fairly nice street, but lots of street traffic. And so the people that come by and get the stuff out of the front of my yard are normally on a bicycle with a trailer attachment. And anything with wheels, they'll tow behind it, which is pretty exciting.
It is exciting. Thrill a minute sounds like.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm like I'm probably like 4 miles from the dudes on bicycles type situation.
Oh, nice. I used
It's
to
like
be like a whole river
over there.
away from it. But
I'm far enough
now-
away from it, but I'm pretty near the train tracks and stuff. So if you want some excitement, just go
Train
down by
tracks
the old,
are super exciting.
yeah. If you want some
I didn't
excitement.
know until I worked at a warehouse next to train tracks.
There was this giant old red warehouse, probably like 6 miles from our house here, that was right by the train tracks, and it was unoccupied, but it had a sign on it that somebody owned it, you know. And I kept driving by it because I would get off the freeway and then I would come down that side road that would come down there, and I kept driving past it, going like, I wonder if I could just rent this building. I wonder if I could just rent this old building, and then I'll just put all my aquariums in there and put my recording studio and all that kind of crap in there, right? Like, I wonder, you know, obviously pipe dream because there's a pretty big building. So I was like, I don't know. I never called the number. And then there's a distinct reason why I didn't call the number, because about 2 weeks later, that whole building caught on fire and like went up big time, right? And it was like it made the news and stuff because I guess somebody died. A couple of people died in there because apparently it was just full of squatters, and it caught on fire and just went up big time. And you know, of course, they were like, "Is there a meth lab in here?" And it's like, nobody had a meth lab. It was just homeless people broke in and they were living in there apparently. So I'm kind of glad I didn't call, because they might have showed up and been like, "Let's go inside," and we would have been stabbed with rusty knives or something, you know, in the dark.
Sounds like they killed two birds with one stone. Insurance claim and got rid of the squatters.
That was the first question I had, was like, who started that fire?
Yeah, right. Well, because down here, I don't know about up where you're at, Joel, but like all of the foreclosures and the raising and housing prices and stuff, there's a lot of people that, and especially during COVID when they did the you couldn't kick people out. Oh man, some of those folks, I swear they have to like burn them out. Like, people are trying to sell the house, but they can't sell the house because they can't get the squatters out, and like all sorts of wild stuff happening down here.
Well, you know, generally that kind of stuff is going to happen in this world, right, that we're living in. Things are pretty expensive up here. Things are very expensive where I live, right, Western Washington. What is with my camera today? Hold on, I'm fixing my camera.
What is with my nose today?
It's picking up that painting, the face in the painting back there. There we go. Anyhow. Yeah, so it's definitely a big problem up here. It's definitely something that gets talked about a lot of like, what are we going to do with housing? What are we, like, what are we going to do with the homeless problem? Which is interesting because we're really good at counting our homeless in Western Washington. It's probably pretty good in Oregon also. Like, we have the resources to know, like, oh, there's 66,000 homeless people, right? Or whatever it is. And then, look at the numbers going back. And one of the weird things is that the numbers aren't that different from what they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago. The big difference is there's a lot more people living here, and the areas where they used to kind of congregate and hide out no longer exist now because there's buildings there, there's parking lots there, there's all sorts of stuff has been built in those areas. So like, oftentimes you'll see people posting pictures while they sit in traffic on the freeway and go like, oh my God, the homeless out here on the side of the freeway is ridiculous, and you're like, yeah, it's the side of the freeway, man. Like, no one wants to live there, right? Like they're there because it's like the only place for them to go, so it's a really sticky situation because none of the home developers up here and the housing developers, they're not building cheap housing, right? Because there's no market for it. Right? I mean, people would buy cheap housing, of course, but people will buy expensive housing, right? So why would you build a cheap house when you could build an expensive house?
Yeah.
And that's the big issue that we've sort of run into is that a lot of people in the U.S., and I don't know what it's like in Australia, but a lot of people in the U.S. don't realize that these huge housing developments, the cities, the roads, all that stuff, historically was built with tax money. All of these suburban areas around cities did not just spring forth out of the ground because somebody was like, look at me, I can just start building houses. Look at me go. All that stuff was funded by the government, which is our that's our representation of our tax dollars at work, right? And there's so much less of that at this point that exists because we're just hoping that the free market capitalism will step in and solve the problem. And it's like, it's not going to solve the problem if the customers don't have a buttload of money. If they don't have a big giant bucket of money, capitalism does nothing. It's like, well, tough on those guys. Oh, look, someone's buying over here. Okay, hey, how you doing?
In Portland, they've been even more brilliant with this strategy in that they started doing, I forget what it's called, but it's where you put in piles of giant pokey boulders and you install points on benches and armrests on benches so that all of the places where people who didn't have somewhere to live would congregate before, there hasn't been anything built. They just made it so they physically couldn't be there. Right. And then as they've pushed out to other places, they push them away from there. They break up the camp, put a bunch of rocks down. And now the answer is to just make it illegal to camp in Portland.
Right. Yeah.
Which just pushes them into the suburbs, into all the surrounding cities and areas.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
not
so the reality with that is, and I've gone round and round about stuff like that, where as Huawei says, it's anti-loitering tactics. And so the thing is that the homeless will end up in parks, for instance, and the Parks Department has to deal with it. Now, the Parks Department starts to complain to city council or county government or the state government or the governor or whoever they complain to, they complain up the chain and go, well, we're having to clean up doo-doo, we're having to clean up garbage, we're having to deal with this. And they go, okay, well, we don't want to pay you guys to clean that stuff up. So what can we do so we don't have to pay the parks department to clean it up? Well, put down spike strips and rocks and and stuff like that to deter people from loitering in these areas, right? Well, you don't have to pay a spike strip once you've already placed it somewhere, right? It's done. It's a one-time cost. It's doing its job. It's like a barbed wire fence. Barbed wire fence, you put it up, maybe 40 years from now, you got to come put up some more razor wire or whatever, but
Or
you just put it up, and there it is. You don't have to pay it every week or every month or any of that stuff. So most of those mitigation tactics are a way of, let's do a thing, and then we don't have to deal with it anymore because we don't want to try to get money to deal with the situation. And I've spoken to lots of people about this. When you talk about the homeless, right? We're talking about what is the problem? What is the problem with the homeless? It's like they're without a home. They don't have a place to go. Start building places for people to go. Like that's there it is. That's the solution. They go, well, that's not simple. That costs too much money. And then people don't want to have the housing built in their neighborhood because then they're going to have these people are going to live in their neighborhood, and then they don't want to live in their neighborhood anymore. And it's like, just start building it, right? Like, don't ask, just do it.
Yeah. Let the community adjust.
Just do it.
They'll get over it. It's okay. You don't gotta want to do things. Turns out, as an adult, most of the shit don't want to do it. You just got to. Like, you don't gotta want to live next to somebody to do it. You be fine.
You don't gotta wanna. I like that. That should be a shirt.
You don't gotta wanna. Yeah. My son hates hearing that now. That was his whole childhood. You don't have to want to, buddy. We just got to do it.
Gunners and roses.
And it's really one of those things that, like, it's the unfortunate thing of, as you guys know, like, democracy is one of my most important the things that I value. I value democracy, the ability of the people to vote for the things that they want. But when it comes down to it, it's like you can't try to please every single person. So obviously the super fancy neighborhoods, maybe you're not going to be able to build it there. There's probably not even an available place to build there. It's probably already built to the point where nothing is available. But there's a lot of middling neighborhoods and a lot of lower neighborhoods. Start knocking stuff down and start building stuff. Like, that's just how it's
along
gotta be,
the main transit lines. Like in Portland, you could build along the MAX system. Like, make it somewhere that is easy to commute to and from. Like, property right next to the MAX lines isn't super valuable anyway because you have the MAX running in front of your house. Like, it's typically lower income neighborhoods as it is.
Right.
Like, there's all sorts of ways to deal with it, but they don't want to deal with it. It's like when they made it legal to have drugs or it's not illegal to have drugs. It's not legal to have them, but it's not illegal. And then they didn't do any sort of treatment programs or outreach or anything. They don't actually want to deal with the problem. They don't want to do anything. They just want it to go away. That's not how it works. People.
We're getting,
what do you reckon, Zayden?
Mullum at the moment in not very good land, but hey, we've got all the low income housing getting put up. It's good progress.
It's about time. Yeah, they're smashing it out, aren't they?
They certainly are. Yeah, good thing. And I had a friend who was like, it's terrible, they're making slums. And I said, you know what? Better than having bums. Have a bit of slums.
Slums, not bums.
That's right. Give them a house. Get them some dignity. You know, that's.
We
awesome.
literally have tent cities here.
Even if they're
like
pods,
whole
small houses, tiny little apartments. They just need to put surveillance on the area so it doesn't turn into a
Right.
den of debauchery.
Well, yeah.
G'day,
I
Dave.
mean, the issue is it's obviously a complex issue, but
Yeah.
when you start to talk about the solution is very simple. It's build more housing, right? Like, it's not a complex, like, what do we do? It's like, start building more housing. And,
Yeah.
the FHA loans in the United States of America, we have already implemented this before. The Federal Housing Authority, by the way, still exists, and they can loan out zero interest loans to developers and start developing land, right? But we don't want to do that because we don't want to upset the companies. We don't want to upset the companies. Some guy in a fancy suit's going to come down here and yell at us, and they're going to take away our election money or whatever, right? So, that's one of the big issues, is like, we already have done this on multiple occasions in the United States. We did it in the 20s, we did it in the 40s, we did it in the 60s, and then since then, basically since Nixon, strangely enough, we haven't done it again. We were just like, no, never mind. We're all done with that now, guys. Look at my
Nixon
stock
didn't
price.
start the war on poverty, but boy, oh boy, did he fan the flames. And
So-
Jay's crazy obsessions kind of brings up a good point, and he says, "How's the mental health help for the homeless?" And
It's
like
not
in general,
It's non-existent in America because Ronald Reagan struck it from our federal budget without with nothing to replace it.
Yeah,
Ronald
took away all
in
that.
general, it's
struck it
really
from the
terrible.
federal
And
budget. All of our asylums, they were called loony bins. They closed the doors, and all those people went out into the street. All the people that worked there tried to find jobs, tried to find out what was going on. Like, they didn't know what to do. All those people just went off into the ether, right? And now there's nowhere for them to go, right? And we're talking
Portland's
about
actually cool in that we have a mental health hospital that has a fully functional emergency room. So we do have this kind of little island of hope there. It's called Unity. It's really impressive, the programs they offer, and a lot of their outreach programs are incredibly effective. But there's like a 2 to 3 day wait in like a waiting area, and for a lot of folks, that's not something they're able to overcome. But in general, it just doesn't exist. Like that hospital that we have there is such a huge resource, and it's like a pilot program.
right.
It's not a standard.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you have a 450 bed hospital, right? Like, that's not even a dent. That's not a dent in Oregon's problem, right?
Mm-mm.
What Oregon has, like, 4 million people or 3 million people in it or something like that. The number of people that need mental health and access to mental health is not going to be handled by a couple of small programs. It's not going to exist. I mean, I used to volunteer at the Compass Center downtown in Pioneer Square.
Mm-hmm.
They had 80 guys at a time, and the waiting list was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds long. And you can't take in new guys into the program until the other guys have somewhere else to go. And they're not going to kick those guys out the door with nowhere for them to go, right?
And that
So those
transitional housing.
But that's transitional with rehabilitation, with get clothing, get cleaned up, get some medical care, get off the street, and actually get going somewhere, right? Like, that stuff takes time. That stuff takes a lot of time. The average time that those guys would spend in there was 150 days, which is 5 months if you're not a math wizard. And it would take plenty of time to get people back into a position to get back out there. Now, there were a lot of stipulations to be at the Compass Center. You have to be sober the whole entire time. You have to attend all of these specific things. And there were a lot of things that you had to do while you were there, also with volunteering and whatnot. that place is doing amazing work and they're doing something great, but you're talking about 80 people at a time, you know, and if there's 5,000 people outside, I guarantee you out of those 5,000 people, if you got all of them into that exact same program, there are a bunch of them that just can't do the
Yeah,
requirement,
it's not the right
right?
fit for
And we
everybody.
and by the way, those people that are outside, I've over the years of working downtown, I met a lot of them that just can't exist within society. They just cannot. And here's the problem. We just can't afford to have them living outside on the ground. Right?
It's
They
expensive.
can't exist within regular society. They have schizophrenia. They have compartmentalized syndrome or whatever that is, where like the parts of their brain are compartmentalized, whatever that is, associative disorder or whatever. There are people with mental health issues that cannot exist in a day-to-day with people, like with just average, hey, what's that guy doing right now? He's screaming at the potatoes, right? Like,
Right.
you know, but those people, we can't afford to just kick them out and throw them on the ground and be like, I don't know, figure it out, chief. You got some bootstraps? We took away the money. I'm going to go buy another yacht, you know? Like, it's just not, it's not going to work, man. Like, and we can't just like expect average people like, what, are you kicking a $5 to the homeless guy every time you drive by him, getting off the freeway or whatever? Like, it's
Yeah,
just
but
it's not responsible. It's not being a
you've
responsible society.
you've got for-profit prisons in America, so having the monster factory continue is part and parcel of keeping the economy going, which is sad. But
I mean, our for-profit prison system is like 7% of our prison system. It's not a majority. It's a very small percentage of our prison system. So,
yeah,
But all of our prison system is fatally flawed in the way
exactly.
that it
yes,
operates.
yes,
You
because our
guys
prison
got the
system is incarceration. We are punishing people for committing crimes.
yeah.
We're not rehabilitating people to come back into the public. So
That's
yes, if we want to talk about the flaws of our incarceration system here, our prison system,
Yeah,
that is the major flaw. Yes,
yeah,
and I 100% agree with you on that. The biggest issue is that most of our prisons, by a far majority, are tax funded, but they're only tax funded to a point where they need to become a way for that prison to make money unto itself,
yeah,
right? And one of the big ways of doing that is making the prisoners become workers, because our 13th Amendment, guess what? The super racist guys that wrote it threw that in there just in case we abolish slavery unless it's a punishment for a crime.
yeah.
Now, and then people go like, those guys weren't racist. They were super benevolent and they like wore wigs and oh my God. You know, okay, yeah. Well, why did they throw that in there? Why did they think, oh, we should make sure we add this in there too, even though hundreds of thousands of soldiers died over this. You know, we've been at a civil war for however many years. Let's go ahead and we'll ratify this, but we'll also leave this little liner note down here in case
Didn't they fix
in case
that
you
though?
commit some crimes, you get to be a slave again. Ooh. Right.
Didn't they
Yeah,
fix
and
it
then
though?
spend the
And
next 200 years incarcerating Black people.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh,
they fix it and started paying them 25 cents an hour for all of their hard labor in prison.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's as low as 7 cents an hour. Yeah.
We've got someone I knew from high school got out of the big house, and he said, yeah, he used to work making furniture, and the
Mhm.
furniture company in Australia that's made in prisons is called Freedom Furniture.
Right.
I
So
didn't know. That's
That
funny.
seems harsh.
Freedom Furniture is all prison made.
Right.
It's fucking ironic and
It's an
sad.
ironic, strange parallel to hard work will set you free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd
Because
we find that?
there was
I made
there was
money.
some dudes that put that over a gate. I don't remember exactly what the
Yeah.
gate
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
to, but
Yeah, I know
you
those
know,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Arbeit macht frei.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like America has a lot of issues. America has a lot of great things going on, but like to talk about like specifically about the housing, it's like when you really boil down to it, it's like the homeless population needs a place to go. There isn't a place for them to go. And I know people were talking about shelters earlier. You got to understand like how shelters work
It's
before you apply that as a solution. You really have to see how they function. More often than not, you have a big open room with a bunch of cots. You don't get to even go in there until like 8 p.m. and then they kick you out at 5 a.m. You have to have a ticket. It's first come, first serve.
It's not safe. Your stuff isn't safe.
It's not a safe place. Your stuff's not safe. You don't have a secure place, and you get kicked out every morning. You know, every morning, take all your stuff, get out of here, go figure it out, right? And it's not. So a lot of the people that are going to the shelter, it's just such a last ditch effort. They go there for a couple of days. They go through this struggle of going in, trying to find a place, trying to get comfortable, then getting kicked back out, losing half of your stuff, then trying to get some stuff during the day. It's not a productive day because the day is spent. Where am I going to find some food? Where am I going to find, if you need medical care, let me
Where
try
do
to
I go to
find
the bathroom?
medicine. Yeah. Where are you going to go to the
Where
bathroom?
do I shower?
Yeah.
Like,
so
how do I get clean underwear today?
Yeah. And one of the big things, there was a meme going around for a while that somebody had written up that they basically were trying to explain to their mother. They had gone to a grocery store and the mom was like, had scoffed at some homeless guy who was begging for money out front, right? And he's basically spanging for change, right? And he's like, well, why doesn't he just try to get a job at the store here? He's here already, And a lot of people are so far out of touch with like what it's like to try and get a job that they go, he doesn't even have a home address. He can't fill out an application. He probably doesn't have a phone.
Have a phone number.
He doesn't have like, how's his credit score? They check your credit score now for like minimum wage jobs at grocery stores or whatever, and if you're like a homeless
keeping
person,
your ID, like your birth certificate or your social security card and up-to-date photo ID without address, like if you don't know where you're gonna poop, how do you get ready for work in the morning? I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I mean,
there are more pressing needs.
A lot of the older people that I talk to, that's their opinion is like, well, why don't you just get a job? And it's like, well, they don't even have like the basics to be able to even be allowed to apply for a job, let alone
get the
get
modern
the job.
day version of let them eat cake.
Yeah.
And people
so
are out of bread, so eat some cake.
Yeah, it's a very weird situation. That obviously, us kind of being upset about it probably doesn't solve any of it, but still at the same time, it's on my mind right now. Is a voting season coming up on the midterm elections here in less than 3 weeks. Or 3 weeks from today. Sorry, 3 weeks from today. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. So 3 weeks from today, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I know I'm not going to sway anybody's vote one way or another, realistically. But, if you want more policies like Ronald Reagan closing all of the mental health care facilities across the nation, then vote for whatever weird Republican, right? If you want to see some funding go towards mental health, vote for the Democrat. I mean, that's really what it boils down to at this point. I don't think the Democrats are perfect by any stretch of this imagination, but at least they are trying to do something about it.
At least they aren't all up in my uterus.
Yeah. Do you want to be able to buy condoms?
Yeah.
Because it's on It's on the Republican agenda to outlaw contraceptives in the United States. Do you understand how insane that is? 340 million people just
We don't have houses for the
bareback
ones we
boning.
got.
Just bareback boning.
Sweet
Just
Jesus.
barebacking, going wild, doing whatever.
Because
We
Yeah,
need to do the
makes money.
opposite. We need to put birth control in the water. And until you have the wherewithal mentally and financially to exclusively use bottled water, like just don't worry about it. We got you covered.
Right.
They're going the wrong direction with that. They don't want to take care of kids once they're here anyway. They aren't
Yeah.
funding schools. They aren't building Head Starts or early education programs, or God forbid, keeping parents mentally sound or giving them the time they need to spend with their child after they're born.
That's what I
Like-
said. It's the monster factory. You're just producing little monsters who are disruptive and create a story of like guns are good, you know? Like we need the guns to protect
what?
against the monsters.
And born into homelessness.
Well, you know, I mean, I am a fan of the Second Amendment, but I'm a fan of the Second Amendment by how it's written. We're supposed to have a well-trained militia, which means there's supposed to be federal tax dollars going to training you how to use a weapon,
And
whether it be a
respect
rifle, a shotgun, or a handgun, in a professional, maybe in a professional setting, and to become somebody who's adept at being ready to go to battle if you need to, aka a militia.
That's not what happens here. That's not
I
how
know.
it shakes out, as it turns out. It should be.
That's
But just in case anybody outside the country was wondering, it did. Script said something different.
No, I mean, the how the Second Amendment is written is how I would like it to be followed through upon. Is that we should have shooting ranges. We should have citizens. All of our citizens should go through a full weapons training program. They should have to go shoot to recertify every year.
It shouldn't be easier than driving a car. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah. I mean, it should be like having a driver's license, except you have to be part of the militia, which means you got to be ready.
Called up.
You got to be ready if China invades, baby. You got to be ready to go. It means you got to get down there and get your rifle and get your greens on and get running. Run over that direction.
Oh my gosh! Do you know how many?
Where the bombs
I feel
are going
like
off.
so
You
many
better run that
people
direction.
around here would sign up for that. Oh my gosh! They'd be like, they've been waiting.
You guys have like an army reserve like we have?
Yeah, we have National
from
Guard.
the Army.
National Guard. Okay.
Well, no, we have Army Reserve, the Navy
Army
Reserve,
Reserve,
the Marine Corps Reserves. We have the reserves. They're all from the force. They're armed forces. Yeah. You could sign up to be a reservist, but like it's not really worth it.
Right.
But if you wanted to own guns, then that was what you had to do it.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah, I
that
think-
would be good development. That would clean up a lot of bullshit. You had to be a reservist to have a gun license.
I always figured people have always lost their minds about gun regulations specifically here. So I thought it would be cool. I'm like, forget it. You can have whatever gun you want. But if you want to buy bullets or reloading supplies, every bullet gets a chip. And if you're the one that bought it, you own where it ends.
Yep.
Like if it kills somebody, you and whoever did it, you go to jail together.
Yeah, RFID it. Absolutely, that's possible.
But
And then
people
bullets
won't do
will just
that
become
either.
currency. People steal other people's bullets, and
Oh yeah, hot commodity.
People would have to actually use their gun safes.
I've got a protest coin, and on it says "Silver Bullet, Silver Shield." So the idea is that if you made bullets out of silver rather than lead, they'd be vastly more expensive, but people would be a little bit more cautious about their use, and they'd only use them very sparingly. So if you make, as you said, Shana, like if you made the bullets more expensive and had tracking in them, that's a great solution to just
deter.
stupid violence. Absolutely.
There's just a bunch of ways around it, like with everything else. And as technology and 3D printing and all of that progresses, there's so much more,
Oh yeah.
inevitably. I think we just don't value people. Is
hear about
ultimately societally the problem.
Did you hear about the guy with the gun buyback program? And he went home. The local county sheriff's office said, "Look, we'll buy back handguns for a certain price." So he went home to his 3D printer and spooled out a couple of hundred zip guns for 10% of the cost of the buyback scheme and just handed it in and then cleaned up.
Yeah.
Very clever. Yeah.
Well, hey, man, you
You got to
said
be
what you said
specific
what you
on
said.
rules.
right?
That's entrepreneurship that should be encouraged.
My son, when he was little, would teach. He was always so good at finding the loophole. We found out at one point that he was getting up at 2 a.m. every morning and watching like 4 hours of cartoons on his laptop and then going back to bed. And that was why he was so tired at school every day. And we're like, yo, you can't be getting up in the middle of the night. He's like, what do you mean? And we're like, we told you to go to bed. And he's like, I did. And then I got up. And I'm like, okay. I didn't clarify that at all. And touche, I appreciate that. And we are now closing that loophole. When I say go to bed, I'm also going to say and stay in bed.
It's good. It's good when your kids have enough intelligence to work out loopholes and
Yeah.
clauses like that. Good logic.
Internet on a timer switch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a bunch of things that also changed after that. But I was just like, you know what? You are right. That is well played, sir. Well played.
Oh, yeah. So my phone's getting real hot, and I'm averaging about 1% of battery per minute talking and being on here. So I better get on and save some power.
Would be sensible, yes.
Lovely to talk with you all.
All right, good to see you, buddy.
Night or day, wherever you are. Thanks for having me.
No worries, dude. Anytime.
See you guys.
See you soon.
Bye.
It's kinky nighttime out here.
Kinky
dark.
night, man.
It's kinky.
It's so dark.
It's not very bright here either. Very overcast and full of clouds.
You look like a really disgusted vampire when you do that.
Yeah,
With the lighting.
that's how I look, dude. It's what I do, bro. It's what I do.
That's what it is.
It's not the lighting. I didn't realize.
It's just what I do. I'm just in the bushes.
So
looking at people funny.
I might try and change the subject to a much lighter topic. Has anyone seen that Dharma show yet?
Yes.
Dharma?
Yeah,
Dahmer.
Dahmer.
Jeffrey.
Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer? No, I'm not watching that shit. Get out of here.
Great. So
I
good.
love that shit. I've watched it all. Have you seen the
Why would
John
you-
Wayne
why would
Gacy
you say-
miniseries?
Why would it be good?
That's just, dark and evil and really nice at the same time.
Right.
No, it's quite good viewing. I really like the way they did it. They started with his arrest, and then they did all this jumping around the timeline and stuff to tell his story and
Well, the
his
stuff
story
you
of-
find out about his childhood is super interesting because initially he was like, nope, had a great childhood. Everything was fine. And then you find out, oh no, he was raised in a bubble of cold disassociation from infancy.
Yeah, but I mean,
and his mum did a whole bunch of drugs.
I'm gonna
while
tell
she
you.
was
I'm
pregnant
gonna
with
tell
him.
you. Like, I do not like the. I do not like the trying to. I guess. What is it?
Exalt.
No, they're trying to elevate the
I think
or-
that's what exalt means.
humanize. They're trying to humanize these serial killers. You know, they did it with Ted Bundy. You know, they're doing it with Dahmer. They've done it with. I mean, the list goes on. I don't
Well,
have
they
the
are
list.
just humans.
I don't have.
They're just
yeah,
messy, nasty,
are humans.
rotten humans.
they are not the hero. But what ends up
No.
happening is people end up hero worshiping these people because they're cast in a light that is far more glamorous and far more exotic than what these people were actually up to. There was no theme music playing when they murdered somebody. There was no mood lighting set up. There was no crystal clear 8K single prime lens photo shot on a specific camera to make it look like it's the 70s or whatever. Like, none of that shit happened when these people were murdering people, right? Like, and people watch these movies and it puts a little thing into their brain, right? It puts a little thing into their brain that they, oh yeah, maybe they weren't that bad of a guy. Maybe they weren't that
Yeah,
bad of
no,
a
this
guy.
wasn't really like
You know.
that.
Yeah, not at all.
He was a shitbag. It was clear from the jump. They didn't try to really glamorize any of that.
Yes,
It just was
but
like
like here's
a
an
more clear
example.
understanding.
Here's an example for you of a mythological person from The Silence of the Lambs, right? Well, crap. What was his name in The Silence of the Lambs?
Hannibal Lecter?
Hannibal
Or
Lecter,
Buffalo Bill?
right? Or Buffalo Bill, one or the other. Pick one or the other. They're still in the American zeitgeist. I mean, I don't know about Australia. I don't know about Europe or whatever, but like, they're still, oh, it's amazing. And it's like, this guy's a stabby serial killer, and we end up normalizing this violence in American media, which ends up being the world media because people end up watching all of the American crap, right? That violence is just like a normalized thing within our society now. That
Well, I think there's a difference between normalizing violence and understanding that bad guys aren't some boogeyman monster in the dark. It's not some stranger danger thing. It's the dude on your bowling league. Like, it is just a fucking person. It's not some sort of social pariah that like lurks on the edges of society most of the time. Sometimes it is. Normally, it's just some messed up person who didn't get what they needed and now is all screwed up and we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, I think these shows are all just purely coming out of the fact that so many people are besotted with the murder porn now. So
well,
they're
I mean,
catching in with these pseudo documentaries.
Ted Bundy got a wife while in prison and impregnated her and made a child with her. While
yeah,
in
but
prison.
Manson had a bunch of groupies too. Manson had groupies
Right.
before he was publicly
It's
known, though. It's part of like that narcissistic charisma, maybe. I don't know what makes some people like total shitbags.
Well, girls were sending cash to
Weird, but it was
Dharma in
before the
prison too.
movies, you know.
But he seemed to get quite a hefty amount of cash in letters from fans as well, didn't he, Dharma?
Yeah.
Well, people bought Gacy's clowns.
My reason for bringing that up is the hero worship of somebody who murdered people, right? He's in the news. He becomes popular. It's a popular figure now, right? Like, it's something that I don't think people are watching it as like, this is an educational moment for me to go like, well, how do I get in? How can I really understand what it was that like led this guy to go there? And then like, maybe I won't do that stuff, right? Because, you know, even as you stated, he just said he had a normal childhood, and then you find out he didn't have a normal childhood, and then blah 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 blah, right? But I don't think that that's the effect that comes from making these shows, right? From making these movies. I don't think the effect is like, wow, people really have a good understanding now. It's like, nope, now it's just a pop media thing, right? Like, it's just a pop culture icon. It's a way to make money or whatever from the deaths of these people, because that's the reality of like why they're famous. They're famous because they extinguished lives of other people. Like, that's it. That's the only reason that they're famous, right?
Yeah, and it's also potentially giving, you know, kiddies the idea that, oh, I could have a TV show made about me if I go and kill a bunch of people.
Right. And the reason I say I'm not really going to watch the Dahmer thing is that there's been a bunch of Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries, specials, movies, documentaries, biopics, whatever, you know, time and time again. And I have to admit that like I'm a little bit worn out from that stuff, especially because if you turn on Channel 5, there's like NCIS Special Victims Rape
It's the
Unit
murder channel.
in the 21st season over and over again. Okay, and then you turn it on Channel 7 and it's like FBI behind the scene, we're gonna catch them show, and then you go to Channel 13 and it's like, we're investigating the serial bitings of this guy, and you're just like, can we spend a little bit of time like not just glorifying this violence, especially like real world violence? Like, I like action flicks. I like Star Wars. People get shot in Star Wars or whatever. We all know it's fake. Fucking laser guns, man. Like, I think we all understand that it's fake, right?
I've never been a fan of murder porn or anything, but I think Dahmer was probably the first serial killer that I was like aware of in my lifetime. When it was in the news when I was a teenager. And, I was a little bit intrigued about learning the story. And Evan Peters is fantastic in it.
Yeah.
He's becoming such a great young actor.
What animal is that? Is that the kookaburra?
That you can hear squeaking. No, that's a baby magpie.
Oh.
My magpies have 2 babies at the moment, and baby magpies are beggary. They constantly squeak at their parents, and then their squeaking gets more excited when they think that their parent has found food. So I've got the 2 adult magpies foraging around the lawn at the moment. I don't know where the second baby is, but one of the babies is sort of constantly watching each parent to see who's got what in their mouth that I can scab.
Now, here's the thing. So you mentioned Evan Peters. Now, Evan Peters just needs to go back and just play Quicksilver and be done with it, right?
Well, I don't know. Did you see all of his work in American Horror Story? That was a big link between American Horror Story and the Dahmer Show. Was Brad Fulchuk, I think his name is, or was it Ryan Murphy? I think it was Ryan Murphy was actually the dude, because it was Fulchuk and Murphy who did American Horror Story, wasn't it? I think. And then Ryan Murphy was involved in Dahmer as well. And then he's also involved in The Watcher, another show that I started watching, which is really spooky and good fun, if you want to check that one out. It's good.
Yeah.
It's about a weird neighborhood.
I haven't watched shows in forever, and then somehow I got sucked into Yellowstone, so I watched all of that.
Yeah.
And then I watched 1883, which is about the Oregon Trail. Mm-hmm. And talk about slight shift, glamorizing something. The Oregon Trail, like, they didn't necessarily glamorize it in this show, like, yeah. But the way people talk about life in the old days, how it would have been so great. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm not sure why if Wolf Creek was based on actual happenings or if it's entirely fictional. Someone might have to Google that. Because, yeah, I mean, Ballspace just mentioned Ivan Milat, who's one of Australia's most notorious serial killers.
Aren't his brothers all messed up too? It's not just him, isn't it? His whole damn family.
Possibly. Yeah, I think they're all a little bit wrong in the head. But Wolf Creek could have been based on Ivan Milat, except Wolf Creek was based on the opposite side of the country to where Ivan Milat did his stuff, did his fun things. Yeah, that'd be interesting to know. I met John Jarrett once, the guy who played whatever his name is in Wolf Creek. Can't even remember what his name was. Anyway, he's a good actor. Proved it by doing Wolf Creek. Kookaburra and a magpie. sitting side by side on the fence, possibly going to fight.
Enval Space says, I worked at a hotel pub that was once Ivan Milat's watering hole. Didn't know it until I left. I once worked at a bar that was a part of Shanghai tunnels that were actually used to Shanghai people and press them into service. And I didn't know it was a bar until somebody, or it was a part of it until somebody showed me the entrance.
Thanks, Huawei. That was him, Mick Taylor. Very, very Australian sounding name. But yeah, if you're not interested in Dharma, Mr. Pants, maybe have a look at The Watcher on the Netflix.
No, probably not.
It's quite interesting and very spooky and edgy.
I do like spooky and edgy.
Probably not, you say? Not into that?
The
'Cause he was
spooky?
bloody-
I'm not really
Yeah.
into the spooky stuff all that much.
It's more like a
Suspense.
suspense and conspiracy sort of thing, and you're constantly wondering who the baddie is because they're doing it in such a way that everyone could be the baddie.
My current weather right now, you know what it says down here?
Sweaty under the balls.
It says 59 degrees and smoke.
Ah.
Smoke is my current weather.
It's
My
it's
current
nice that
weather.
they include it. Don't leave it out. Doesn't feel like a wallflower, the old smoke. I guess
Yeah, the air
smoke
here is
also-
currently unhealthy for everyone to breathe.
Is the smoke keeping the temperature down, or is that a fairly standard temperature for this time of year?
Well, it's not supposed to be this hot. I will
It's
say
warm.
that.
Unseasonably warm here.
It hasn't rained yet in October, and it's the 18th already.
And normally it rains like from the first week of September on.
So our air quality hasn't gone into indigo mode yet, or whatever this is. Maroon.
Which is what, don't go outside.
Yes. When it's like that, it's like don't go outside.
That's when
Right
you
now-
get like all the buildings with doors that slide open and close, like grocery stores and stuff, will get a whole ceiling full of smoke.
Yeah.
Creepy.
So it goes from green to yellow to orange to red, and then goes into like, I don't know, whatever these psychedelic, dark, weird indigo colors are. Right now we're solidly in the red. That is, quote, unhealthy. Some members of the general public may experience health effects. Members of sensitive groups may experience more serious health effects. Oh. Yeah, it's not good right now. It's bullshit. It's pure bull hockey.
We have a fire going up by Vancouver, kind of near my house, that was actually really close to they had to evacuate a bunch of people from their houses and stuff.
Yeah.
And turns out there was 2 men and 2 women in a Subaru with what appeared to be Roman candles shooting them off that may have started the whole damn thing.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
What's this nonsense?
I got my respirator. Last time it was like this was the beginning of COVID, or like the middle of COVID or something. Let me think.
It was right at the beginning,
Was it
like
for
2
us.
summers ago, right?
for us up here? Yeah, like 2 summers ago. So it was like a couple months into COVID, and I was out jogging at night because I was going out jogging every night, and so I was wearing my respirator while jogging. And well, yeah, because I mean, it would this air screws me up. That's why I'm coughing. I
Understandable.
got like phlegm and stuff going on, but yeah. So I was out jogging in that, and then of course that's when the Black Lives Matter protests were ongoing, and so paranoia was like at a maximum, and I was out jogging. So some local hoodlums, some dudes who thought they're super tough in my old neighborhood, started chasing me down the street because they thought I was like Antifa or whatever. Who's this guy? You know, and like running, like, who are you? What are you doing? It's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm jogging. What? You know, like, oh, fuck this guy. And so they ran. One of the guys went and got something out of his car and then started running after me. And I was like, I'm going to run faster than these idiots. And so I don't know if he went and I don't know what he grabbed, a bat or something. I don't know. Gun. I don't know. I was out of there though. It was
Like you were warmed up and ready to
weird,
sprint.
it was a weird interaction to watch people like literally just freak out, you know, because it was dark out. It gets dark at like 5:30 now. And they straight up freak out because somebody's wearing a respirator.
G'day, PNW. How's it going? Yeah, well, I guess, you know, was that before, was that recently? Or was that before everyone was wearing masks for COVID and stuff?
Well, that was like
10 years
summer
ago.
of 2020 when everyone was freaked out by COVID, first off, and then all the weird weirdos were freaked out that Antifa was going to like burn their house down or something because they were watching Fox News or whatever. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I suppose
that
you're
was.
lucky
I
that
forgot about that whole
had
side of it.
handguns.
But to be fair, it did look like the apocalypse outside. Anytime you went outside, it was like bright orange, smoked in. It felt very ominous.
It was very ominous. It's very ominous right now.
Sounds like PNW is near the fires that you guys are talking about, being that he's in the Pacific Northwest as well.
He lives in the same city as me.
Oh, nice. But very good that your house isn't on fire, PNW. I hope that it doesn't come close enough to cause disturbances and fear.
Distribuntics.
Just had a bunch of lads turn up to go and forage the paddocks for magic mushrooms.
Are they looking? They're looking for magic mushrooms out there.
Yeah, because it's been so rainy, the paddock provides. Yeah, it looks like they're getting a few. They've been getting some pretty good hauls lately, and it hasn't even been hot yet. Saves me doing the work if they come up and do it every other day.
Good old child labor.
Well, last year I did did half the picking work, and I had a little bit of assistance with the picking work, but then I dried them all out, and then I stored them, and then I didn't even use the last year's lot. Got all distributed amongst the boys anyway, so it's about time they put in and get some of their own, and then give me some later on. But,
Do you have like a dehydrator, or do you dry them out old-fashioned?
Old-fashioned. Yeah, I mean, I did have a dehydrator, but it seemed that they were the weather we were having last year when I was dehydrating them, and I had 3 or 4 feet of them spread out across the table with a fan on them in the hot weather as well. They were drying out pretty quick. No mold or anything, and I think that's how the boys are doing it as well. You just got them spread out on a table with a fan, pluck out the dry ones, and then crush them up when they're all dry enough.
I've never collected mushrooms. I've only grown them.
Oh yeah, where's Replay Team 6? Replay Team 6 did not show up on my newest live stream. They're not commenting. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to them.
On your live stream?
Yeah.
We'll have to spread the word.
I did.
Make sure Replay Team 6 goes there as well. I get at least one a week on this stream.
Jeez, where are they at, dude? That's what I'm saying. Like, what are they doing?
Well, Huawei's already made one reference to them this stream earlier on in the piece in the chat, which is nice. He was referring to that we love our lunatics, those Replay Team 6 or something like that.
That's
yes,
right.
He said, I love our lunatics. Replay 6. I'm looking at.
Somebody commented today. Gosh, this channel is so underrated. Why doesn't he have over 5 million subs by now? Like,
was it about my channel or yours?
No, about my channel. I was like, well, that's a really long story. And then somebody actually replied to it with the really long
the story.
Yeah. and it actually it actually makes sense.
And it,
I was
and
like-
it saved you from sitting down for 12 minutes trying to work out how to word it.
Trying to type it all out. Yeah,
No.
I was like, oh,
Well
Hey,
done,
there
that
you go.
person. Yeah, I'll be collecting the shroom tax. Huawei, don't you worry about that.
I've got some exciting videos coming up for you, boners, you fish boners.
Fish boners.
I don't know who you're calling a boner, but I am definitely not a boner.
You're a fish boner.
I like it. Fish boners. It could be a club exclusive membership to the fish
Wait.
boner club.
Does that mean that your erection is like a fish, or does that mean you like to fiddle around with fishes?
No, it means that like you
The
get a
possibility
killifish
are
and then you get a boner from getting a killifish. And then you got to
Fuck,
tell
I'm
everybody
totally a
about
fish
it.
boner.
Hey guys, and you go tell
Yeah.
like non-fish people about it. You're all at
Yeah.
at the gas station,
Yeah.
like, hey, gas station guy, I gotta tell you
My
about
coffee
killifish."
people are very excited about my killifish.
Who is?
My coffee people.
You're at the coffee shop, man.
They
Here's
ask.
You know what's weird? Like I go to coffee shops and everybody like learns my name there and stuff, and it's weird.
It's
That's
like
'cause
cheers.
Yeah.
You're not
You roll
going
up
in
and they're like, Joel.
Yes, they literally do that, and I'm like,
Yeah, they do that to me too. I love it.
why? What?
It's because
What do you want?
you're going in and putting the same name on your cup every day instead of putting Pants or Captain Hissy Fit or something on your cup. You're always using the same bloody name every day, aren't you? No wonder
Well,
It
they
makes
learn
me
it.
be happy for like at least 2 minutes.
They learn
I
it,
like
and
it.
then they write like, "Have a really nice morning, Joel," on my like biscuit. Like if I get a biscuit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then
You
they're
must be
like, "We
being
love you,"
kind and nice
and
to
I'm
them.
like, "Why don't you follow my YouTube channel?" Actually, by the way, that coffee shop, there was a girl working there when I came in. She goes, "Corvus, what's up?
Yeah.
What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey, nothing. I'm getting coffee." That's what
You're
I'm
like,
doing.
it finally happened. Can I sign something for you? And she's like, no.
No, it doesn't happen like often. I wouldn't say it happens often, but that's definitely not the first time. But the grocery store is where it normally happens.
Yeah, I only have ever had that once or twice when I went down to Melbourne to the Fish Expo there, and I had people recognise me.
Yeah.
Don't know
If
why.
I go to
I
a
look
fish
like doing
expo, then yeah, everybody knows who I am.
Yeah.
And they either want to chat or they want to fight. That's generally what it boils down to. Like, I'm gonna tell this guy a piece of my mind. Fucking guy.
Can we should do that.
What do you want me to
at
do?
Fish Expo one year.
What's the deal here? What?
We should do that. Like meet up at some Fish Expo one year when we're really rich and have a pretend fight that looks real. And
That
then
sounds
go
like
at
a
the
lot of
end,
work, man.
just kidding. Subscribe to our channels, you fools.
Jazz hands.
Subscribe. You just gotta subscribe, man. You gotta subscribe. It's free, dude. Oh my god. Ugh.
Do you reckon we could get Borat to say subscribe like he says, my life?
I wonder if he does what's that called? The cameo? He
Cameo.
probably does cameo.
I would imagine so. $1 million for
It's
2
such,
minutes.
let's see. See if he's on cameo. Well, I don't think he is. Oh, he's not on there. He is not on Cameo. We can't get him to say subscribe for us.
Damn it.
He's not on there, dude. We can't do it.
Probably would have
Here
been
right
like
now.
$1
Sound
million.
off in the chat. Sound off in the chat. I got a 1. Who's 2? Sound off in the chat. Who's here? I don't even know how many people are here right now. Who's watching?
There are 13 people in top chat.
Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching this stream. We might as well just talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Huawei's watching. He's hanging
Huawei's
out with us. So's Ryan. Kat. Oh, did you see that 2-3? How good they did that? It was like bam, bam. We got dope chat. Hi, Jay.
Oh, Jay failed. Jay failed us. He
It
didn't
was supposed to
4.
be 4.
Yeah.
That's okay.
God, somebody turned on the heater. What the? Somebody turned on the furnace. Oh my God. I'm in a heat wave.
I went the opposite. It went from being really hot and sweaty. Now I've got a nice cool breeze blowing.
Somebody turned on the furnace. I mean, there's only one other person, so it's Vicky. Vicky turned on the furnace, and I'm not about to go yell at her or anything. Huh? What? Huh? I'm not gonna.
I love the old man in you, though, where you're like, somebody turned on the furnace. It's like always a thing.
No, it's just hot. Like, what the fuck? I have a vent right here, and there's another vent right there. So when they turn it on, it gets busting in here. It gets warm real quick.
Can't you switch off certain segments of the house?
You could close the vent.
Well, I suppose I could. I gotta go up on the ceiling.
Move
All
and
that.
stuff.
Can't you reach the ceiling with a single bound?
I don't think I can. This used to be a garage. The room that I'm in used to be a garage, so it's not the tallest ceiling, but it's up there.
What about a stick?
I don't have a stick. Okay? I'm inside.
You need a good stick.
I'm inside.
Always.
There's no sticks in here. Here, hold on.
I got a stick very close to me that's got a lovely little hook on the end of it that you could probably perfectly use.
Oh, there we go. The furnace turned off. Oh, I'll calm down now here in a minute.
She heard you freaking out about it and thought,
What about a
no.
flip-flop? Do you have a flip-flop? A well-aimed flip-flop might be able to fix it.
Well, our furnace and air conditioning is a heat pump, so I'm not old man in it. Like, who's wasting money? I don't care about it.
They're so much more efficient than they used to be.
Yeah.
I can so vividly remember my dad losing his mind every time he smelled a baseboard heater turn on.
Well, baseboards are expensive.
Is that like a radiator style, or oil radiator?
Apparently, frost on the inside of your window is not an acceptable reason to turn on the heater in your room.
That's an acceptable reason to burn that old crappy house down.
Yeah.
Get your windows replaced. Your dad not to be a cheapskate with those single pane janky windows.
You have no idea. We had a $400 rental house on 5 acres. It was like they hauled in a manufactured home and put a brick shell loosely around it and then just left gaping holes as crawl space access.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Frost on the inside of the windshield and particle wood floors are what I remember about that house.
What were the numbers in the chat?
What's that?
G'day, Nola. I didn't say Nola come in. What are the numbers in the chat? I missed that bit when I walked away to do a wee.
I count like 9, but there's more than that.
No. I mean, people are typing numbers. Corvus started with number 1, and Huawei typed number 2, then Cat typed number 3.
Oh, it was a sound off. We're trying to count.
I said, who's in chat? Well, because a lot of times people will go like, "Oh, I don't listen to you guys' Dr. Black show or your live stream because you just talk about whatever." And I'm like, "Do you ever comment in the chat what you want people to talk about, like me, or Blacky, or Shanna? Do you ever sound off in the chat and be like, "Hey, I got algae on my butt. What do I do about it?" And I'd be like, "You need to go to the store and buy yourself one of those toilet bowl brushes, and then you need to heavily soap that
scrub your
up.
anus.
And you got to wash yourself with a brush on a stick." You know what I'm saying? You
I think some people just find
get that algae off your buns, and then you'll be clean, and people will like you more. If you got clean
You could
buns,
be a Charmin commercial.
if you got clean buns, you know what I'm saying? People like that.
It seems to be so much easier for people to moan and complain these days instead of being proactive and, having an opinion instead of just a complaint.
I love how people don't want to be rude, But it's not rude to just bitch about shit.
No, bitching about shit's not rude, but it's like if you ain't contributing, then like why are you upset? Like you could have
Like
just let
people
it
who
be known.
complain
Like,
about politicians but don't vote.
oh yeah, you got to go vote, dude.
Yes, don't complain about things that you have control over. You
Yeah,
can
you
do
got to go
something.
vote,
One of
bro.
my favorite things that came up twice in like back to back streams I was in, somebody complained about everybody being too loud. And we're like, turn down your volume.
Right.
You have, but if we're all across the board too loud, just turn it down a little.
Are you guys doing ladies' night anymore?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Should we bring it back, just you and me, and call it ladies' night?
I have an idea for a late night show
Ladies' night.
that's
Oh,
actually
what a
like a
night.
late night show, but I gotta like actually make it happen.
What's your idea for a late night show?
Well, it's late night with 503, and we'll do it's a lot like ladies' night, but it won't be all ladies. Like there'll still be ladies on there, but it'll be guys and gals. And as opposed to like a panel chat sort of setup, it'll be like a produced show that's performed live with different little things. Some segments will be there each week, some will rotate in and out. Some people will be there each week, some people will rotate in and out.
Oh. How late night is this late night?
I think we had tried, I think we had talked about something like 6 or 7 Pacific.
That's not late night.
Well, everywhere else it's pretty late.
That's daytime in Australia.
Big time. Well, yeah, it would be late afternoon, mid afternoon, maybe.
Japan.
Perfect.
No,
They
hang on,
can-
I've got that wrong. It'll be morning time, surely. What time is it now?
9:49.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It'd be pre-midday for me. Now the boys are getting attacked by plovers out in the paddock. You
Maybe
got plovers over there, haven't you?
Because then little kids would be in bed everywhere. And that's that would be 11 o'clock on the East Coast, which is like late night showtime.
Right. Are you trying to cater to the East Coast? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm trying to catch both.
Oh, you're trying to catch both?
Mm-hmm. I want it all. Money, fast cars, gold chains, diamond rings, all of it.
Wow. That's big time. That's big time, dude.
You got to aim high, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good logic. I'll look out.
Aim high, but maintain very low standards.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
I might wreck everything with sound because my
What?
headphones aren't working yet. Hang on, I'm trying to make it do the things.
Is it not working yet?
Well, it's just that my headphones aren't. Hang on. So it's coming out of my computer.
It's a steak.
Ah.
2 steaks.
Look at this bouquet.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Just-
My computer's being slow too.
We gave like some names and stuff.
Those are beautiful. That's Golden Teacher.
Oh, that's a lovely name.
Golden teacher.
I
Is that
know
what you
because
call
it's the one that looks like a booby.
Oh,
these ones?
Right? Doesn't that look like a booby?
there are some that look even more like
Yeah.
a boob. Wow.
If you've got 3 tits, I suppose.
A girl can dream.
We've all seen Total Recall.
Yes.
After the
That lady in American Horror Story had 3 boobs as well.
That's a solid callback there, Scungy, considering you weren't even here for the talking about American Horror Story earlier.
Really?
I
Were you
love that
talking about
show.
it?
Just I was mentioning Dharma and the connections between one of the creators of Dharma and what's the other one that I just said? The Watcher. All American Horror Story linked. However, there's no American Horror Story actors that I know of in The Watcher, like there was a couple of in Dharma. But anyway, I'll try and spin this around. Get that out of the way.
Oh, beautiful.
Paul
My favorite way to eat mushrooms is just fresh.
Straight out the ground.
I like to eat them by like breaking off pieces and swallowing it like a tablet, because otherwise it's too disgusting to eat. Although the pizza sauce we made was pretty good.
Pizza's good. I like that way.
I feel like it just tastes kind of like grass and dirt. Like, it's not bad. I probably shouldn't like the way those things taste, but I'm like, meh.
Oh, I think they're so foul. Like, I don't like mushrooms that are meant for eating. What's a culinary mushrooms? I don't like. So
I love mushrooms, portobellos, and I could probably go vegetarian if I had a solid supply of quality mushrooms. Because like it is like a steak to me. Like, they're just so good.
I love the idea of them, and apparently I can cook. Why disconnect? Sorry, I'm like doing two things at once. Apparently I can cook good mushrooms because I have two kids who really love them. But
Yeah, and you can stuff them. Also cool. You can like fill them with cheese, and peppers. They're good stuff, and they're a good way to get other stuff in your face.
Yeah, I used to hate mushrooms, but I quite enjoy them these days as a full-grown boy.
Oh, they're awful.
Isn't it funny how your taste changes from childhood to adulthood? Like, some of the things that I absolutely hated the most in the world are my favorites, and some of my favorites, like, I won't touch with somebody else's mouth.
Well, see, that's interesting you say that, because as a kid, I loved mushrooms, and I used to steal them from the supermarket every time we would go. I was a mushroom thief.
You've got to have them.
It's your conscience coming back to haunt you. It's like, no.
That's possibly a valid reason.
Can I just ask, is the audio all wrong from me being on my speaker?
No, it's good.
It's like, then I'm just going to stop trying to fuck around with these headphones because it's not working and it's distracting me.
You sound beautiful.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sounds fine, and there's no echo. And
Nice.
there's a little bit of forest out your background.
A little bit. It's quite nice at the moment because, like, you can't see. But like out through all these trees, there's like all like mountain range along here. And because it's a rainy day, all the tops of the mountains are like in clouds, and there's all these like wisps of cloud climbing along. So it's really pretty.
That is cool.
I think if you get to live somewhere where you can see like the natural skyline, like vistas, is the best thing ever. Because just being able to look out and see like all trees till the sky, or mountains and then the sky, like, it's so grounding and wonderful. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited for me. Especially, I was really starting to panic that I was going to be homeless with my 3 children. And as it's turned out, it's just wonderful. It's a beautiful spot. And we used to live in the full rainforest, stuck on the side of a mountain. And then we moved to the last house I was at, and it was kind of rural, and it was nice enough, and the house was kind of fancy for me because, I especially my prior house was like a shack with a leaking roof and outdoor toilet and stuff. But the whole time we were at the last house, we just missed being in the forest so much, like just all of us constantly, and we'd go out whenever we could to go swimming in the creek and stuff like that. So it feels really nourishing to be out here and feel really lucky.
Yeah, cow paddocks and forest are not one and the same, are they?
They're not. And yeah, it was so cool the first day when we were here, and like two of my boys went running down to go and explore the creek and came back with, handfuls of crystals. And but wait, because I thought about this when I set it up. I do still have a wooden chair, but on this one, I decided to put a black rug so that if there was any poop, it might just like blend in and no one could.
But that's a solid callback, Huawei. A very solid callback. That might be one of the finest callbacks in the history of this stream.
If you can't see it, it didn't happen.
That's right.
And a rug's probably easier to hose off than a chair.
I don't know about that.
The chair might be easier, but
it would be easier with just to rinse it off the wooden chair. Especially, I don't even have a washing machine, So I might be, for the sake of impressions, causing myself even more work.
By not having a washing machine?
By putting the rug on my chair.
Ah, gotcha.
In case there's a poopsident.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good, I like a thought though, because I don't know where that other sheepskin actually even is.
I don't think you're ever going to get that fly.
No, he's hiding under cables and stuff. Still kicking.
Oh,
good job.
Finish him.
Now you gotta.
I got bits on me.
Flies eat poop. It all keeps circling back.
It always comes back to poop.
Mm-hmm.
If I splattered a bird or a mammal and I got its guts all over me, I'd be a lot more disturbed than just a little bit of fly innards on me. It's funny how we determine those things, what's acceptable and what's not.
Right?
So many bugs, though. They just don't
That's
stop.
because it's such an accomplishment to Ninja Man catch a fly in the air. Like, that's the price of being a warrior. Little fly guys.
I still think that would be pretty impressive to just snatch a bird out of there or something.
I'll have to get my finches a lot more used to me, a lot less flighty, and try and grab one of them.
And I feel like that's requires a lot more stealth to accomplish.
Very flighty little buggers, those guys. I'd be tempted to eat some of those mushrooms if I didn't have to, prepare meals and stuff for the rest of the day. Just hope they're not stripping the paddock so we don't get any.
That's what I was going to say. You're making sure that they're leaving a little bit.
Yeah, and they've all been educated to tap them on the top, give them a little bit of a hit to knock more spores out.
Do you know how to make spore prints? That's kind of fun.
And they're very cool.
If you haven't done them before, just for how pretty they are, it's cool. But
Yeah.
then you can like crop out your own too.
Yeah. When I was moving, I just threw away my spore prints actually, but mostly because I figured there was enough. It was like mushroom season. I can take more if need be. But actually, I also decided it's harder to just grow your own than just pick them.
Yeah. I've never picked them before though, so I'm just like, meh, no. I'll just gross up. I don't want to grab the wrong thing. And I'm pretty sure, like I'm like 99% sure I know the difference, but it's that little 1% that has me like.
It's possibly that 1% that might save your life, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just too convenient when they grow outside your gate within a few meters. Yeah. It's not like we have to wander out into the forest somewhere to pick a feed.
Well, here it's like we have blackberries that grow like weeds everywhere. So you can just go pick them for free, no problem. Or you can buy them at the grocery store for like $9 a quart. It's like, what? No.
I'm going to go to the shops.
Okay.
Post up so I'll be back in the next hour.
All right. If Billy's out, bip your horn and I'll call her. All right. Come here. You stay with me. Good girl.
Shanna's dog was barking before and it sounded exactly like Billy's bark.
Yeah, right now they're being bums. Out like a light. Out like a light. He's actually asleep in the background with his head up on the armrest.
At least it's not like last time where they're trying to eat each other.
Oh my gosh. That's just what they do for fun.
I think my dog would love another dog to wrestle with all day.
It was the best thing ever for Henry because he had really bad separation anxiety. He's like he's just now over a year old and had all of the energy in the world. Like you couldn't walk the energy out of him if you walked him all day. You had to like run and he doesn't fetch. He'll go and get it for you once and then he's like, all right, dummy, you're going to need to go get that yourself.
Yeah,
and
my dog does that game.
Dustin plays in a pool league and the bartender found this dog and the two of them look so much alike that when she showed Dustin a picture of the dog, of Dizzy, he was like, oh shit, that's my dog. What happened? And so she ended up coming over here and like, she's Henry's dog. Like they just roughhouse all day long and wear each other out.
Yeah. Oh. I heard that.
I don't think dingoes are the best babysitters, right? Wasn't there that whole baby thing?
I believe that may be the source of Huawei's comedy just there.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm guessing.
I did have a dog, though, who was part dingo. And she was beautiful. I love that dog. Like, I've had some other dogs, and I've never loved a dog like that dog. She was so special.
Yeah, they do make good house pets and even better when they're crossbred with something similar as well.
Yeah. Well, mine was, she was Border Collie, Kelpie, Blue Cattle Dingo, quarters. And yeah, beautiful dog.
They're quite popular to crossbreed because they're not a barking dog. They're like a
and they haven't been inbred for centuries, like say a dachshund.
Yeah. Although you do get around, certainly around the east coast of Australia, you do get a lot of feral dogs that are, there's
Good
dingo
girl.
in them, but they're clearly crossbred with other dogs as well. We have a fairly substantial wild dog problem at the moment that a lot of farmers are trying to deal with. But they've been a problem for, at least 20 years or more. I can remember one of my friends getting chased down a road by a pack of dogs running home from
That'd
a
be
party
terrifying.
one night.
Alright.
It was a 36-kilometre run by the lad too, and about 12 kilometres into it, he's got
I
chased
would
by
have
the.
died. I would have died before I made it 37 kilometers. I've been like, all right, come here, Fido. Circle of life and all that.
He was a very, very athletic lad, and got sick of the party, so decided to walk home. It was a 36-kilometre walk, and I think he ran most of it, and then had to sprint a certain section where the dogs started chasing him. How'd we go? Another bucket full?
Me and my friends decided to leave a party and walk home. We were like, way out in the bush at the time. We are like, it's all good. We can go and walk home across the mountain roads. And only once we got far enough away from the house, we realized there was no moon and it was pitch black. And so we had to walk with our arms linked, feeling every footstep in front of us on the road. And it was such a long walk. So you couldn't just step in case you just went straight off the edge of the cliff.
I remember doing a middle of the night walk like that, and we had to walk with one foot on the asphalt of the road and one foot on the gravel because you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
I was lame.
I've never been in dark as that. That was
Yeah, I couldn't see nothing. Like nothing. It I had to keep failing to make sure my eyes were open because I was like,
G'day, Aquaman. What am I guessing, mate? Aquaman came in saying, guess what?
hello, Aquaman.
I'm going to go and fill my cup.
You want to make sure you bring my pots back too, boys. You must have the other one still down there.
You got your fucking pop back, mate. Halfway down the street and I remember.
Oh my gosh, it's 10:10. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, I got to go to bed.
Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. Anytime. You're always welcome. You know that by now.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, my guy.
Give Scungy my love.
Will do.
Convenient.
So much action going on now.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to go to bed. I got to get up at 4:30.
Oh, that doesn't sound anywhere near as nasty as 3.
True.
That's an extra 90 minutes you get, bro.
That is true.
Living the dream.
Living the dream, buddy. All right. I love you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll see
Bye-bye.
you next time.
Good to see you, Sarah.
You too.
Bye.
I'm all frozen. I hope that doesn't mean.
No, you're not frozen at this end.
Oh, good.
Shanna
The
said to
last
say.
time we were talking, I went frozen, and it didn't come back on.
Yes, that was last time. Is everything unfrozen now?
Yeah. All good.
Good. Hey, we're not stopping yet, Kat. It's just those other 2 American kids have to go get their beauty sleep. To just put all the scraps in, I don't know, put them in that ceramic pot. Just like there's a brush here, or you can just go. Oh, Aquaman getting divorced and tore your fish room down. I wouldn't have guessed either of those in a hurry, mate. So I'm glad you explained and told us. Nice pants.
I wanted to ask you something.
That's a heathen movie.
Bring the pot over here so I can put it on camera so it looks more impressive than all spread out. It's got some weight, has it?
Yeah, you can't feel. Not a feel.
The size compared to my head, how big this garden pot is.
Makes your fat head look smaller.
It's like, what does it feel like? 1.5 kilos?
Yeah, it's probably 5 kilos.
I'm talking about that.
It's like 2.5. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Scale. Need a human scale. Oh, 3 kilos?
3 kilos.
3 kilos?
Shit.
Found these in the field too.
I don't know how accurate
What?
this old name
Found them in the field too.
You found them in the field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some pumpkins.
How weird. No, they're not legal, Aquaman, but you know,
3 kilos?
they just grow out there in the paddock, so people collect them and stuff.
I mean, surely you guys are just doing a public service by clearing them out of the field so that no unsuspecting people sort of come across them. And
All the guys come in and pick them and make a mess of the joint.
Did you hear that? He said getting rid of them so the hooligans don't come in and pick them and make a mess of the joint.
that's right. That's what I assumed all along.
It's a public service, to say the least. All right, see yous. Absolutely, Aquaman. It is a shitty thing to go through, but it will be better in the end. Moving forwards. That's all we all need to do, is just move forwards. It's about 6.6 of the King's pounds. That's nice. That's nice, P&W. I like that reference. I don't know if, it's current affair type stuff, because now we've got a king instead of a queen, and depending on what gender the ruling monarch was, that'd be the Queen's English or the King's English, the Queen's measurement system or the King's measurement system. That's the way, mate. I'm glad you're taking a positive attitude to it. A lot of people could stew and dwell in the negativity and the nastiness surrounding such things, but good on you, mate. Move forward, leave the past behind, only hang on to what you need to hang on to from the past. I'm not, probably not the best advice giver, sitting here drinking alcohol in the middle of the day, scratching my nose nonstop,
It's like almost the end of the day. Oh, it's very shortly the evening.
I suppose.
Just saying.
So,
but-
I'm entitled, definitely entitled to be drinking at this hour of the day, and, I'll still back my advice, whether it's sober or slightly pissy.
So, thing is, I was going to ask you a question. Are you ready for it now?
Okay, let's go. Questions.
Yeah. I want to know, when you bought the T-shirt, how much, like, the postage and stuff costed.
$12, I think it was.
Okay.
And I'm not 100% certain, but I'm fairly certain that what is it called? Threadless. That was where I bought it from, wasn't it? I think it gave the price to me in Australian dollars, and the shirt was 14, and I'm fairly certain that the postage was 12 on top of that. But I can have a quick look and go back through my bank and find that.
The thing is, after seeing it, now I want to order a few, but I have to think about how much that will be financially for me.
Well, when I bought it off Threadless, there was a sale on at the time.
Yeah, but I get sales all the time. And also, I think I can actually, that won't make much difference because I can get like a price from my shop is different. But I think if I only make $1 on the shirts, then it's probably only $1 cheaper than whatever it is normally.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I think there are lots of sales come on. Because they always send me links
Uh-huh.
telling me to promote my shop and share the sales around. But I don't.
It might have actually been in American dollars because $44.58 is what got taken out by Threadless. So yeah, that would make more sense that it.
Yeah, that's a bit exy if I wanted to buy myself, like 4 shirts.
But
5
would you?
shirts or something.
You might only get charged one shipping fee though.
Yeah, true. But also, I just moved house and my car broke, so.
There might be, maybe because Threadless ships out of the US no matter what. So, there could be someone out there willing to buy some shirts up and then ship them out to Australia for a less price than Threadless ship them. No, that wouldn't make sense, would it? Because then they'd have to pay shipping to them and then redirect it as well.
I don't think it will turn out to be financially beneficial to do that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It was a fun idea to say it first, but it slowly made less sense as I thought about it more.
But yeah, no, thanks. I just, because I've been wondering about it, and when I saw that one in person, then I was like, oh yes, I want to make some of those mock-up ones that I sent you. But that's all right.
Oh, should we has anyone bought? I know BJ Palmer's bought a Scunch Princess shirt, even though it came from my t-shirt shop. Anyone else got a Scunch Princess shirt? Scunch Princess even? Pretty good. My only regret with the one that I bought was I bought a 3XL because some of the Redbubble ones at 2XL were a little bit small on me, so I thought I'd play it safe and buy a 3XL, and that 3XL is actually a 3XL and, doesn't even hug my titties or anything. I swim in it pretty much, but, I'll still wear it with pride.
Actually, that was another thing I was thinking about wanting to buy some, though, because when I touched it, it felt like a nice shirt. Like, I'm pretty fussy, and that one that you got from Redbubble, it's like the fabric's too thick, and I don't like thick t-shirts.
Yeah, they don't make sense for the summer.
Like, thin and have that movement in them.
Certainly one thing with that one is that, it's a very light fabric and very thin and comfortable and stuff. So they're not selling shit t-shirts. Not like the Gildans that Jimmy Pardo's always carrying on about. Of course I would, Aquaman. Aquaman asking if he ever went to Australia, would you drink a beer with me? Would I drink a beer with him? Maybe a beer first, and then we'd merge into some heavy spirits and some hard drugs and stuff, and then fall asleep watching some stupid TV show or something. I don't know you from a bar of soap, but I know you're not a mass murderer or anything. So by all means, Aquaman.
How do you know that?
because I can tell. I've got a sixth sense. Fully sick. Yeah, the ones I got of the Sarah's Darth Varth data, thank you, BJ, were very thick shirts. Not very good for the summer down here when you're a sweaty fat man like I am. G'day, Casval. Long time no see, bro. Welcome. But yeah, who goes to Australia these days? It seems like it's just so far away from the rest of the world, and people are so annoyed about long plane journeys that they just don't bother coming down here anymore. Although Denican's coming down next year. I hope he puts having a beer with me on his tour plan. I'd have a beer with that guy. Talk about God and stuff. Sorry, Denican, if you're listening. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I did. I know he likes that kind of stuff. I don't mind it, as long as it's not jammed down my throat. Everyone's entitled to their opinions and their beliefs, and I respect that.
Yeah.
A good 3-season show.
Reminds me of that saying I remember liking a lot about how religion is like a penis. And it's like awesome. If you have one, that's great. And you can really enjoy it and you can be into it and you can, do whatever you like. But if you try and shove it down my throat.
So the simple version of that is religion's fine if you've got one, but just don't stick it down my throat.
And don't stick it down people's throat unless they want you to.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think
to each his own. Everyone's entitled to a belief and opinion.
Or just don't wave it around in public either.
Yeah, and don't hate me for not being into your religion. In my time,
I find it a really good, the more you think about it, the more you find, those similarities.
In my 29 years on this planet, I've you take things from certain religions and stuff and you learn from them, but you don't have to entertain every single credo or tenet from religion. But there's definitely some lessons to be learned and some values to be held from some of the religious doctrines.
Yeah, I think it's more just that everybody has to make that decision for themselves and find what works for them.
Absolutely.
And you just can't decide for other people which one or how much they should be into it. And follow it.
Pardon me. I wonder if that went stereo because I went across the mic. Drop a line in the comments below if you're listening in stereo. Accidental rhyme.
Hi. You all right? Do you need something?
You'll be all right, Huawei.
Okay.
A good
Why
8 or
don't
9 kilometers from the coast. You won't fall off.
It's gone. Did you have a fight with Soren?
No.
All right. I'll have a talk to Teo when he gets back. I probably won't be on here much longer, and then I will. Because Teo might have taken it.
So that they still get the school bus to your joint now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep, from the driveway. They're not that stoked because it's a longer bus ride than it has to be. It's say 20 25 minutes out of town, and it's like a 50-minute or an hour bus trip.
Yeah, right.
So
Because they've got to do all of this stuff through the valleys and dales and whatnot.
not even. They just go from here, and then their bus goes all through the town picking up kids.
Yeah, right. And how
And
fast
in
is
the
school from
afternoon,
town?
I mean, the school is. So what happens is, so most of the buses in the area all drive into the town, and then they drop the kids off there, and then the kids that go to the other schools catch a bus out. So from the old house, they would come into Knox Park, and they would get off, and they'd have some time in the morning, and then they'd get on their other bus and go to school, and then in the afternoon they'd come, they have some time at the park, and then they get on the bus to come home. Now, they just don't really get that park time.
Just on the bus from point A to point B.
So it's about the same time. They get picked up and dropped off about the same time, and it's about the same distance and everything as it used to be. It's just that instead of that nice little, flying fox swing, hang with your friends time, they just have to drive around the streets. So that kind of sucks for them.
They'll adjust.
Well, for now, there's two things that can happen. They can catch the other bus, and that drops them at Chillingham. And on my way from work, they have to wait there for about 5 minutes or something. And I can pick them up from there. So in theory, that bus does the park time. So in the afternoon, they can do that. And also Soren's friend lives just down the road there, so he can catch that bus to his friend's house, and I can pick him up in the afternoon or something. There are ways around it.
Good to have options. I'm going to go and fix my beverage and wrestle a crocodile. So you're the host.
It's really unfortunate when this happens. And it's unfortunate for everybody who has to watch, because I'm just awkward, and even more so when I'm alone, because I know that other people are there. There's a mozzie. Oh, I caught him. But it just feels like I'm talking to myself, because there's not another person that I can see making words and stuff. So I feel like it's kind of cruel to subject everybody to these little windows of time. I feel like it would be better if I disappear for that time, because then, I wouldn't just have to stumble around awkwardly. Well, hang on. I can try and do this. Okay, so markets are pretty much running as usual. The one market that I really liked doing has changed, and they haven't. So they used to have an indoor section for artists, and they haven't started up the indoor section again. So it's only the outdoors. But I haven't been in a position, but it's something I've really been thinking about, how I can get back up and going into markets. I really like the ones where I don't have to set up a whole canopy and stuff, because it feels like a bit more of an ordeal doing it that way, especially through the summer, which is a really popular market time. Lugging and setting up that canopy is not very fun. But I was just having a look. So where I am at the moment, just 5 minutes down the road, there's a little town called Tayalgum, and they have a market once a month, and they have an artists section. So I think it's always good ones that have got an actual section for arts
Specified
with
for
people like.
artists.
Yeah, I think that because people sort of go there particularly for that, sometimes I wonder how well just art fits in when people are mostly going to, shop around for other stuff. Plus, often when they have that, they have like a facility that's a bit better for showing your art, because like out in the markets, like, when we did that Pottsville one, and it was just like really, really windy. It can be really hard to put art up on display in that kind of
black
environment.
sand as well.
Yeah, it was so sandy. So just like mostly have things packed away and then just pull them out special for people. Still, actually, that was a pretty good market though. Like in terms of selling stuff. That might actually be a thing though. The more I think about it, I think though when you do have an artist one, lots of people come to mostly just look, and they like to go and look at all the artists, but maybe not buying as much. When you just have a stall at the regular markets, you often end up, I think, making a lot more kind of sales to people that, there to spend money, and then they see something that they fall in love with.
Yeah, and the connection, they learn about you, they can follow you on the lines, then
Sure.
buy more stuff on the
people were
line.
doing that, like when it was at the artist markets. But yeah, I really want to do it, and I'm really thinking about my life, but I'm kind of it's been a really rough time because there was all the stuff with COVID, and then not only all of that and shutting down markets, so that really affected everything, and an exhibition shutting down, and then all the cars getting broken and ending up really broke. And then I've had to move, and I've taken on this work, but I'm just thinking about, I want to have some say in how my life moves forward. And so I want to sort of work out a path through. I just keep thinking I'm going to die of exhaustion if I start doing the markets right away, because I'm so busy all the time. But I'm like, and then that would be at least like one day of my weekend, and they're very exhausting going and doing them.
That's a long day. But yeah, once you settle in, it might wend its way into your system, your schedule.
I have a little like rough plan at the moment, like a rough shape of a plan, to sort of start finding my way into it. And there's also this thing that with the cost of living going through the roof, having this like regular paycheck from work is really nice, and it's a hard thing to sort of think to let go of, because then I won't be able to manage. And so it's like what I have to do is I have to get the other stuff back into a flow enough that I can
feel free enough to go and do a market.
Well, no, just that I can like let go of or change some of the other things to free some time. So I think I'm going to end up doing a lot more stuff. I'm going to have to take a lot on before I can start to free up some things. But, I've got a little bit of a plan, and I thought that maybe what I'll try and do is just pick a market, pick one, and just maybe start doing that. And yeah, but I want to get the website up and running, and I want to talk to, so my kind of brother-in-law has a business where he prints t-shirts, and I've been meaning to sort of make some contact with him about getting some t-shirts printed there, because I'd like to get that happening before I start doing a market stall, so I can have a really I want to have a lot of different stuff when I come to the markets. I think having t-shirts is a good thing to sell there. Actually,
they're a very viable product, and everybody wears t-shirts these days except for old men.
That's right.
Thanks, Sky. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. There was a lady actually.
It's also very valid to have a tangible, you know, if you've got a T-shirt there in front of someone, they're going to be more willing to buy it than I think seeing a shirt in the flesh is a more tangible purchase than someone picking one off the online.
Yeah, for sure. When you I mean, say stuff like this, Threadless. I mean, I mostly do that partly so that I can buy the shirts. And also just for the fun of, because you can make the mock-up. So when you like put the products on there, you can put your picture on things and you get to see what it looks like. But in the scheme of things, I mean, those companies are huge and they have so many artists and so many things. And like, technically, I'm not a T-shirt artist. Like, that's not really my thing as such. Even though, you know, I like the ones that I made and like, I want to wear them, you know. That's what I was saying, like seeing your one and, you know, those other ones I sent you, it's like, they're the shirts I want to wear. So having an online place like that, I can make that happen. But I think that with sorry, I'm just like taking over everything, talking about just all my own personal thoughts. But
That's all right. I've been very silent this whole episode.
But yeah, I think that there's a lot of different things with art, and in terms of the markets, having small, affordable products that people can buy, people like that because they'll be drawn in. They'll look at your art, and some people want to fork out for something that's more expensive. But most people don't go to the markets to spend big. They want to buy small things that they can, and a T-shirt is a great item to have at the markets for people to buy.
Yeah, even a $30 or $40 T-shirt, people will, you know, probably buy if they fall in love with the art on it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's definitely something that I want to be doing if I'm getting out to the markets. I want to be kind of strategic about it because my time is precious. Like, I don't have a lot of my energy. I just don't have any energy. I need 3 times as much time and like 10 times as much energy as I have to do all the things that I want to do. And that's not just like with my art and stuff. It's just everything. I want to spend time with my kids, and I don't really want to clean my house, but like I want to be on top of the stuff, right? And there are a lot of things that I need time and energy for. So if I'm going to do it, I want to really make sure I've got all my shit together, basically, to go and do it.
Maybe we need someone over in the Americas that prints T-shirts as well. Because, you know, Huawei and GRB bring up interesting points that your artwork would be certainly popular in certain communities. Need an American distributor. Who's willing?
Well, it's interesting. I just got recommended by this lady. I got given a connection to a guy, and whether or not he can help me, because one of the things as well with getting art stuff out there is like people can take up your designs onto things, and that's not just on T-shirts, but on a whole range of different products. One of the things, I had a guy who was like a financial advisor who was seeing my mum at the time, but he saw my artwork and was saying about that I should get onto, you know, like alcohol, like fancy beer cans and things like that. And, you know, he was saying it's a really good way to make money from your art as well, because it's not just selling the piece, because then you still own the piece and you can still own the rights to the piece. You just like sell off to them. He gave me a whole spiel. But the problem is, how do you make those connections? You know, I'm not a very good self-marketer. And so getting out there and sort of pushing myself on knowing how to make all those connections isn't my forte, so I need some support. But this lady from like a job network place gave me a number of a guy who she thinks might be able to help with some of that stuff. So I've got to give him a call, but I've had his number for like a month and haven't called, but I have been flat out, absolutely flat out.
What about Wandana? Maybe you should contact them. Local
Who's
beer
that?
brewery, fancy, trendy
Okay.
beer company. in
Well, like,
Melbourne.
yeah, I mean, maybe that's the thing. You just got to reach out to the companies and send them. So we've got to make, so this is what I have to do. I have to make my website, and then I have to make a bit of portfolio, and then I have to go and like, you know, you make like a kit for yourself. So you've got the letter already kind of, and then you just can edit it a bit for each different place that you go and stuff. So that's kind of where I've got to do what I've got to do and start just sort of pushing myself out there. It's uncomfortable though for me, like
Yeah,
pushing myself.
But like you said, you got to do it.
So, you know, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at when I've got spare time. Spare time.
What does that taste like?
Because, like, say, even today, I probably should have been unpacking and cleaning, and I've got like 1,000 things to do. But I think I did something really valuable because not only did I get to come and visit, but also had a sleep. So I think that was good value as well. But yeah, I just think this is what I've got to do. I've got to have a real plan. I'm going to get my website-y stuff going, and then just like work out, make myself a little, kit, and start approaching places with stuff.
Casval has a decent idea too. You could probably go to a manufacturing convention and ask around. You know,
What kind of like you hear about conventions, and I know that they must happen, but like where? I guess like maybe Brisbane, probably more likely Melbourne.
yeah, I know Melbourne used to be big for them, but Brisbane's pretty good as well. But yeah, that's certainly something you'd have to keep your ear to the ground and be constantly looking into to find out when the next one's going on. G'day, Brothers. How are you, mate? Good to see
Well,
you.
even I'd like to go to some like art conventions. There are like, you know, things where you can go and have a stall, and it's one of the ways to get yourself out there. But it's also when people are looking for, you know, illustrators and product artwork and interesting ideas, they go to those places to look at what art's out there.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to be if you know that it exists and can go there, because I don't know what exists at the moment. I'm feeling good.
What?
I'm feeling good.
Oh, that is good. That's the main thing. As long as you're feeling good.
Yeah.
I've got to go and get a casserole on the heat. Do you want to keep hosting for a moment, or shall we close it down?
I think that maybe we should close it down because I probably have just done enough talking, and a casserole's way longer than a wee.
Oh, it has been parboiled.
But yeah, we should probably.
That's lovely of you. You're lovely as well, Kat. Kat's saying you're just lovely, Scungy.
I am.
You are
though. I love you. I'm lovely.
You're lovely. What are you're drinking? The Black Russians. Yeah, the Black Russians are. They make lovey and fondy feels all too prevalent, don't they?
Um, I have these feels all the time,
Ah,
but
very good.
they do certainly make me like every alcohol. I just get so flushed from it, like to go red. Like I can
Yeah,
feel my face feels hot.
You've gone the color in the face that I was at the start of the stream with all of the humidity and heat that we'd
Yeah,
experienced.
all that
before.
humidity made you red.
Ah, goodness me.
Hi, a wet dog. You need to go out. You're wet. Good girl. She's wet. Anyway, yeah. You have to go, and we should go. But I did see this thing, but that's really only marketed to Asian people. But I think it will be good for me when it's like to stop you from flushing when you have alcohol. But apparently, that's what happens to lots of Asian people. It was fully marketed to Asian people, but
And what was it? A particular product that you must purchase.
yeah,
Suppose
they have
they
like
don't.
a patch, and you wear the patch, and you go out. That's so sneaky. Just like creeping.
I saw it.
Noticed. Yeah, well, thank you for letting me know.
Come
No.
on, go this angle and we can see her snaking more.
Oh yeah, that will be really
We can't see
handy.
her outside though.
No, because she's run out the kitchen door now. It's okay. She likes being on that deck better. So let her go.
Alrighty, let's close it
Okay.
out then. Where do I start? Replay Team 6. We've already talked about you guys so much this episode. You bloody lunatics if you've watched this far. Thanks, GRB and Huawei, for being solid mods. Excuse my neck. How did they find a packet of pumpkin seeds out in the paddock in a zippy?
It's not even decomposed.
No. Interesting. I'll plant some and see what sort of pumpkins I get out of it. Thanks everyone for watching, hanging out this long. It's been another long one. Thank goodness my StreamYard hours just refreshed the other day. As usual, I thank you for continually coming back here for this nonsense and variety that we provide. I just got some phlegm in the throat. Yeah, no, it was like way out in the paddock, Balzac, they said. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense unless it's just been blown by the wind. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week for those that will be back next week. And for those that won't be back next week, we'll see yous when we're looking at yous.